Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has reportedly come under internal fire from Kremlin officials, who are accusing him of sabotaging diplomatic efforts after a tense exchange with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio allegedly led to the collapse of a planned meeting between Russian dictator Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump in Budapest. The Russian Telegram channel Nezygar, known for insider political leaks, reported the incident, citing several sources close to the Kremlin. According to the channel, once news reached Moscow that the Budapest summit had been called off, Putin held a serious and unpleasant conversation with Lavrov. The fallout has left the long-serving minister politically vulnerable, with several top figures within the administration privately accusing him of mishandling the delicate diplomatic channel. Lavrov is clearly depressed. He's found himself at the epicenter of palace intrigue, one Kremlin insider told Nezygar. Multiple officials now suspect Lavrov is following the same downward path as former Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, who was abruptly dismissed in May after falling out of Putin's favor. The source described Lavrov as a weakened figure, no longer trusted or respected by the president. In an effort to defend its position, Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has reportedly begun orchestrating strategic leaks to the media to shift blame away from Lavrov. These leaks attempt to portray the minister's confrontation with Rubio as an unfortunate misunderstanding rather than a diplomatic failure. According to Nezygar, Lavrov believed that adopting a hardline tone in his conversation with Rubio would signal strength and reflect Putin's stance. However, his misreading of the Kremlin's actual instructions caused a diplomatic rupture. Lavrov's missteps ended up undermining the Dmitrievo-Witkoff backchannel, which had been instrumental in maintaining informal dialogue between Moscow and Washington, the report said. Following the fallout, Kremlin Special Envoy Kirill Dmitriev was urgently dispatched to Washington in an attempt to salvage communication. The visit, however, was deemed a complete failure, doing little to repair the damage caused by Lavrov's actions. As a result of this diplomatic blunder, Lavrov's standing within the Kremlin appears to have deteriorated sharply. Russian media outlets claim that for the first time in nearly 2 decades, the 76-year-old minister has been excluded from key government meetings and major international delegations. Once seen as the Kremlin's most experienced and reliable diplomat, Lavrov has reportedly been sidelined from strategic discussions. One particularly telling episode was his absence from a recent Security Council meeting, during which Putin instructed members to discuss the potential resumption of nuclear testing. Observers noted that Lavrov was the only permanent council member not present, fueling speculation of his temporary suspension. Sources describe the foreign minister's demeanor as one of anger, isolation, and defiance, even as Western and Russian analysts alike interpret his behavior as that of a man losing influence. The White House, when asked about Lavrov's absence from public view, commented briefly that Lavrov is clearly exhausted. Adding to his humiliation, the Kremlin delivered another symbolic blow. Lavrov was stripped of his position as head of the Russian delegation to the upcoming G20 summit. For a figure who had long defined Russian diplomacy on the world stage, the message could not have been clearer: his era at the center of Russian foreign policy may be drawing to an abrupt and inglorious end.